You're looking at the stock market and you're thinking, wow, where do I even start? If that sounds familiar, you're in the right place. We're going to lay out a super clear, simple roadmap to get you started on your learning journey. All right, let's jump right in. This really is the big question, isn't it? You see all the charts, you hear all the jargon, there's news flying around everywhere, and it just feels like a lot. You see people talking about trading and investing, and you're just stuck on that one thought. Kahan se shuru kare? Trust me, almost everyone feels this way at the start. But here's the thing, and it's really important. Learning about the market isn't about diving in head first and just hoping it works out. It's absolutely not a race. The real key is to see it as a journey, a structured one with a clear path to follow. And that's exactly what we're going to map out for you. So here's our game plan for today. We'll start at the very beginning, then we'll build a really solid foundation. After that, we get to the fun part, actually learning how to read the market. Then we'll cover strategies, how to keep your money safe, and even the tools that can make your learning a whole lot easier. Ready? Let's do this. So where does this whole journey kick off? Well, it begins with a plan. Instead of just randomly watching videos here and reading articles there, the best way to learn is to follow a structured plan that builds your knowledge piece by piece, one step at a time. And check this out. This basically lays out the entire path for you. Just think of it like 6 levels in a video game. You start with the absolute basics in Module 1, stuff like what even is a stock. And by the time you get to the end, you'll be tackling things like trading strategies and risk management. It's all step by step, so you never feel like you're getting lost. All right, let's talk about the first and maybe the most important part of this journey, building that foundation. It's just like building a house, right? You can't build a strong house on weak ground. Same thing here. You can't succeed in the market without really mastering the basics first. So Module 1 is all about learning the language. What is a stock? Super simple. It's just a tiny piece of ownership in a company. And how do markets work? Think of a giant auction connecting people who want to buy with people who want to sell. The stock exchanges, like the NSE or BSE, are just the official places where this all happens. We'll get to know who's in the market, from people like us to massive institutions and all the different kinds of stocks. Getting this vocabulary down, it's the non-negotiable first step. Okay, once you've got the language down, it's time to learn how to read what the market is actually telling you. And there are 2 main ways to do this. Think of them as 2 different lenses you can use to see the market's story. This is such a crucial idea. Think of yourself as a detective. With technical analysis, you're looking right at the crime scene, which is the chart itself. You're studying patterns and indicators to figure out where the crowd might push the price next. But with fundamental analysis, you're out interviewing witnesses and doing background checks. You're digging into the company's financial health to figure out what it's truly worth. Honestly, the most successful people learn to use a little bit of both. Okay, so you can read the market. Now what? The next step is figuring out how you're going to act on that information. This is where you build your personal game plan. And that's not just about how you plan to make money, but just as important, how you're going to protect yourself from losing it. And this slide right here, these are the tools for your game plan. Your offense could be a strategy like swing trading, where you hold stocks for a few days or weeks. But your defense is even more important. We're talking about tools like a stop loss. That's an automatic exit to cut a losing trade short. And position sizing, which is just a fancy way of saying, don't bet too much on one single idea. Seriously, managing your risk is the secret to staying in the game long term. This quote just nails it. Success in the market isn't about having a magic crystal ball that's always right. It's about having a solid plan to protect your money when you're wrong. So the main takeaway here is managing your losses is way more important than chasing some huge win. Now, once you've got the basics down and you have a solid risk plan, the journey doesn't just stop there. There is always more to learn. This is where you get to level up and start exploring some of the more complex and pretty cool parts of the market. And this is where you can really start to get an edge. Once you're comfortable with the basics, you can explore powerful tools like options, which give you the right to buy or sell a stock at a certain price. And even more important, you get to dive deep into trading psychology, which is all about understanding how human emotions like fear and greed really drive the market and how to control those same emotions in yourself. Any long journey is so much easier when you have the right tools and a good support system. A great learning path isn't just about having the right information. It's also about having features that help you actually absorb it and stay on track. Think of these features as your personal support crew. Step-by-step navigation means you never get lost. Progress tracking lets you see just how far you've come. Quizzes make sure you've actually understood what you just learned. Little things like this make a huge difference between just reading something and truly learning it. So, let's just put it all together. As you can see, the path to getting good at this is a clear, logical progression. You start with the basics to build that solid foundation. Then you learn how to analyze the market. You develop your strategies and you learn how to master risk. And only then you move on to the more advanced stuff. See? Each step builds on the one before it. We've laid out the entire roadmap for you, from the very start to the very end. We've shown that there's a clear, structured way to understand the stock market. So the only question left is for you. Now that you can see the path ahead, what's your first step going to be?